And that's what I thought. I think like at first in your mind you're like, yo, King was maybe being a bit of a dick. But I think once you saw the video, you're like, oh shit,
Yeah, you
I was
took it.
tripping.
Yeah.
I was
But
chilling.
in my mind,
yeah,
and even when you you tapped me and I dropped,
Yeah.
I look back, I'm like, yo, he
yeah,
didn't even
bro,
hit
I
me.
ain't hit you.
You are now watching the Kris LaBelle Show.
What are little things you've been doing?
I've been training, and just I had a really close death that happened to me. You know what I mean? My homeboy Riley.
I saw that,
yeah,
brother. My condolences.
Yeah, so that was a big kind of event in this camp. It threw me off a little bit. Didn't really throw me. Yeah, it didn't really throw me off of my train. Just that was a big that was a really close hit to home. Just cause like I've had at least 8 friends like die off of fentanyl, but that was like that was a really close one.
So that was a close friend that passed away had an overdose on the fentanyl.
Well, yeah, I used to live with that dude. His mom took me in when I had no place to go when I was 14. So, that was...
That's some family.
Yeah, it was family. That was like a family type of thing. So, that was unfortunate.
So obviously this fight camp has been difficult, losing a friend, and you have your major fight coming up here on June 12th in the UFC, and you are a 15th ranked fighter right now in your division.
In the world, yeah.
In the world.
Yeah.
In the world. I known you a minute.
Yeah.
Now you're 15th in the world.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, brother.
I don't know, man. It's kind of crazy. Like, I just, it's kind of crazy to think of, but at the same time, I put in so much work. I feel like I should be, number 1 in the world by now. So, but, looking back from all the struggle and hard work and where I came from, I'm proud, but now that I'm here, it's not enough.
So right now, what's on your mind? You know what I'm saying? Like you're saying that like I've been at this so long, I've been training so hard, and I'm 15th, and I should be number 1. Like your mental state, how do you prepare for that? Like how do you tell yourself I'm number 1 day in and day out?
I've always kind of felt like that. I've always felt like I'm number 1, you know what I mean? I've never really thought of myself as anything else, even though it seems a little bit hard to reach, it seems kind of far, every fight I'm getting closer. Now that I'm ranked number 15 and I'm fighting the ranked number 14 fighter, I knocked this guy out, put me, top 10. Now I see a clear path to that number 1 spot. It's no longer like it was never out of my reach, but now it's definitive. Like, I'm number 15. I beat this guy. I get in the top 10. I beat someone in the top 5. I'm in the top 5. I beat someone top 3. I'm in the top 3, and then I get my title shot. Mm-hmm. So realistically, I'm only, 3 wins away from a title shot the way I see it in my eyes. So, the goal is there. The motivation is there. I still feel young. I'm healthy. I got no injuries. So, we're getting really close to the end goal.
You are young. That's one of the great things about this. Like, you're not even near your 30s yet, and you are 15th in the world. This fight you have coming up, you win this fight. You said, I'm going to knock him out. That's the goal. You want to get that knockout.
Yeah, I want to put this guy away, make a statement. You know what I mean? This guy...
Who is this guy?
He's another Russian. You know what I mean? I don't know why they keep sending me these Russians, but this is, my 3rd Russian that I'm going to be going against. He's undefeated. He's a former bantamweight, but he moved up to featherweight when he got signed to the UFC. He's 4-0 in the UFC. I respect him. He looks like a good opponent. He looks tough, but I think I'm just gonna be too much for him. And I think after this fight, he's probably gonna move back down to bantamweight.
So now, your takedown defense, because you are a worldly renowned striker. You are a feared striker. I mean, I've heard Joe Rogan talk about your striking. I've seen other world champions talk about your striking. You're renowned for the striking. But a lot of people don't talk about that ground game. And the reason being, from my perspective, is ain't nobody get you to the ground.
Yeah, I've been on the ground a couple of times, but I feel like MMA is the type of sport where whoever can implement their game plan the best and make the fight their fight is usually the one that's going to come on top. So I prefer to strike. That's kind of my thing. But, people are foolish if you don't think I'm wrestling, doing jiu-jitsu and doing cage work and MMA grappling, almost every day. I got very high level grappling. That's why you see me, being able to go against these Dagestani and Chechenian wrestlers that no one else is fighting. I don't see anybody else in the division fighting these guys. You know what I mean? And it's me constantly fighting these guys, and I'm a very high level grappler. You know what I mean? I just got my purple belt.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I just got my purple belt, long overdue. You know what I mean? And I've been doing MMA for years now. So yes, I'm a world-renowned striker. Former world champion Muay Thai kickboxing, but I'm just a complete mixed martial artist now.
How old were you when you won that world championship in Muay Thai?
I was 20. I think I was 20, 21.
What led you to that path? What got you into fighting?
I've always liked fighting. You know what I mean? Like, I grew up, when I first came to Calgary, I grew up in like Ramsey, that old school area. And, by the age of 6, street fighting was very regular. You know what I mean?
So Ramsey wasn't what it is today.
No,
because today it's like all those infills and nice, but back in the day it was rough.
It's really hipster now, but back in the day, it wasn't really like that. And we used to get in a lot of fights. I used to fight all the native kids and, Bosnian kids and, Yugoslavian kids that were around.
Just tough kids.
Yeah, just tough kids. And, eventually, I think my mom, she saw that, I liked it. So when I was 8 years old, I got into Taekwondo.
Taekwondo was your first. Taekwondo was your first martial art.
Yeah, Taekwondo was my first. Cool. Yeah, Taekwondo was my first martial art.
That's where the kicks come from.
Yeah, so Taekwondo was the first martial art I ever did, and then after Taekwondo, I quit Taekwondo and I played soccer for at least I think 8 years. Yeah, so I played soccer for a long time. I was center midfield. So I don't know if you know the position center midfield, but you're offense and defense. So it's a lot of running, it's a lot of cardio, and my coach would always make me play that position because I could kick with both legs, and I had a lot of cardio. So that was good, to grow up in soccer, and then by the age of 12, I was in boxing.
So 12 and you start throwing them hands.
Yeah, 12 years old. I went to Impact Boxing, trained under Louis, and he said I was a natural, and I was there for about a couple years, and then at the age of 12, that was when the trouble started. Junior high started, and a little bit of drug use and juvie. So that's when I was kind of out of martial arts, and that's when the street fighting kind of happened even more, and it got more intense. The drug use and stuff going on in the city.
People don't know that about Canada in general, because I know you're on a global scale now. You're recognized globally. You're recognized internationally. Especially here in Canada and the United States. But when you say Canada, and you say, hey, man, we had gangs, we had drugs, we had violence, comparatively to the United States, it's tough to kind of imagine, you only see Canada in this light up until recently. Of course, now, we're getting a little more known. Toronto will be a rough place. But Calgary, back in the day, and even presently, is a little rougher than people know. Would you not say?
Yeah, I think every city has, where you're going to see a little bit of low income. You're gonna see a little bit more crime and just a bit more diversity in things you experience.
You stayed in Dover. Dover is a part of Calgary which is kind of known for trouble and low income and those that are blue collar folk that are just trying to get by, and where people start up. But even after your UFC debut and a few fights in, you stayed in Dover. You stayed in the hood.
I moved back to Dover just to, I just wanted to feel hungry again. You know what I mean? I wanted to remind myself, not everything's all peachy yet. Not everything's all good. I liked staying in Dover. It just it kept me humble. It was nice because I feel like I really relate to those people. That neighborhood was always treating me good. I couldn't go outside jogging without somebody hollering my name, saying what's up, and giving me respect. So I really like that neighborhood. I moved back to that neighborhood. The only reason why I moved out of that neighborhood is somebody broke into my house and stole some things from me.
That's just the icing on the cake right there. You're they said hi to me, they're waving at me, and they're like, yo, he's gone, he's jogging, get there now. He's out running right now.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And the place I was staying at was kind of ghetto. Like my door didn't even lock for months. For months, my door didn't even lock.
But who's busting in your place?
But yeah,
though?
no one busted my place. But I just wanted to, from there I moved downtown just to be a bit more central, closer to all my gyms. So now like all my gyms are only like 20 minutes away. But I definitely love that neighborhood, and I love the food. My barber's up there, Brothers Cuts.
Brothers Cuts,
I've
yeah,
going
they've
to
been around a
Brothers-
minute.
I've never been anywhere else than Brothers Cuts. My grandfather brought me there. My grandfather was friends with Ted. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
just a lot of history in that neighborhood for me.
You got love for Calgary, eh?
Yeah, well, yeah, I was born here.
So a lot of people that become, I'd say, celebrities. I'd say UFC has never been more popular. I mean, you know this.
Yeah.
The UFC is exploding right now. Dana's done an incredible job building that brand, and the fighters done an incredible job maintaining the brand with the excellence inside the octagon. Would you say, at your stage of the game right now, do you feel that Calgary reciprocates the love that you give Calgary?
I feel like for the people that are cultured and really appreciate what I'm doing, yeah. You know what I mean? I definitely I got a lot of support with the Jamaican community, the Nigerian community, actually the African community
In general.
And and I got and not just that, I get love from other ethnicities too. I would say they kind of downplay me a little bit. You know what I mean?
Where do they downplay you?
I just don't feel like they give me enough props for what I've done.
In the media?
In the city of Calgary.
general.
You know what I mean? But I feel like I'm not too worried about it. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I've accomplished so far, and I know what I'm doing for the city. No one else is really putting the city on right now like this.
I concur. I truly believe that you are putting this city on the map right now. I mean, when I think about you and I see your brand, and I mean, we've got to know each other the last few years, and I've had some great conversations with you. Yeah. Sometimes we get a little hood with each other, and sometimes it's super introspective and like really intelligent conversation. So we have a nice spectrum when you and I converse. And I felt like, man, no better opportunity to get you on than now. Your huge fight is coming up from 15th in the world. You win this fight, you become 10th ranked. That's incredible, 10th ranked. Did you ever imagine? Now, you said that you should have been number one because the amount of work you've been doing. Yeah. But did you imagine even a few years ago when you weren't in the UFC, like I'd be a top 10 UFC fighter, top 10 in the world in your division? I
didn't really think I was going to get into the UFC or be UFC material till I was like 23 years old.
Just a few years ago.
Yeah, because I went to I had a training camp, and Marlon Moraes, Edson Barbosa, Frankie Edgar, they all paid for me to be a sparring partner to fly down to New Jersey and train with them because Marlon Moraes was fighting a Muay Thai fighter, and he saw me fight on the previous fight card because before I was in the UFC, I used to fight for WSOF Canada.
That's right, World Series of Fighting.
Yeah, World Series of Fighting, and Marlon Moraes saw me knock out whoever I was knocking out.
I was there.
Yeah, whoever I knocked out that day. And they brought me down, and it was like, it was my first time sparring UFC guys, you know what I mean? And they were paying me, not much, but it was like $800 a week. But
they flew you down?
They flew me down for free, and they're paying me $800 a week, and they're giving me a free place to stay.
To do what you love.
And I would have went for free anyways, because I just wanted to see, like, okay, now let me see how I compare to these guys that are in the UFC. And Edson was in his prime at the time.
Yeah.
And I flew down, and not only did I hang with him, I did more than hang with him. And that's when I was like, all right, well, I'm top level. I'm top tier. I can hang with these guys. I can back these guys up. I can hurt these guys.
Was it MMA? Did you guys? MMA. So you guys didn't just do Muay Thai? You did full MMA.
No, it was full on MMA. You know what I mean? Full on MMA. Full on. We were doing that. I was. Your doing
man
jiu-jitsu
Edson did pretty
him.
Good. I see. He just won. He beat an opponent that you were supposed to fight.
He knocked out Shane
Burgos.
Burgos, yes.
Yeah, and you were scheduled to fight Shane Burgos.
Yeah, I was scheduled to fight Shane Burgos. I tore my shoulder.
You hurt your shoulder.
Yeah.
And then they rescheduled that fight for
Barbosa.
Yeah, Barbosa and Shane Burgos, and unfortunately for Shane, he got knocked out.
Yeah, he got knocked out.
That was big.
That was big, but
Did you feel Edson's power when you trained with him back a couple years ago?
In his kicks, yeah.
Yeah?
In his kicks, yeah, he had good kicks. I would say out of that whole camp, that was one person when you spar, you had to be cautious because because it could hurt you. You know what I mean? He had power too, so.
They say you gotta be cautious training with Mean Hakeem.
Yeah, and obviously you had to be cautious with me, and it was.
You don't
just
play
a good
when
match.
you don't play when you're sparring, do you?
I don't. I don't play when I'm sparring, but I'm also a smart training partner. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make sense to leave it all in the gym. You know what I mean? People getting concussions in their training camps. I don't really believe in that.
Have you read a concussion training? Not even in your career.
Never. I've only had.
You got your brain solid.
Yeah.
Right now.
So I've only had I think 2 concussions in my life, and it had nothing to do with fighting.
No kidding.
Yeah. One.
What happened?
I was at Stampede and I was drunk and I was with a couple of my white friends and they convinced me to go to some rock concert. I don't know how they convinced me. They convinced me to go to some rock concert and they're like, yo, bro, you should try crowd surfing. You know what I mean? I was like, I always see like the white dudes doing the crowd surfing. So I was doing some crowd surfing. I get up there and I'm crowd surfing. And like as soon as the music stops, they just drop me. Oh. And I landed right on my head. And I remember the security guard came up to me and it sounded like he was like, yo, are you okay? Like all slow-mo and shit, right? And I was like, whoa. I was like, yeah, I'm good. I've been hit harder than this. He's like, I heard your head pop. And I was like, I supposedly I was all hysterical. You know what I mean? I was like, nah, I've been hit. I'm way all good. And then I remember like the next day it was like plus 30. And I was like shivering under a blanket, and it was a pretty bad concussion. And then I had one more concussion. Again, nothing to do with fighting. I was at a house party, and this girl jumped on me. She was a bigger girl, you know what I mean?
Though.
She was thick. She was thick.
That's okay.
She was thick. And I love thick girls.
I love thick women too.
Yeah. So I'm not
I got you
cussing.
then.
I'm not cussing. I love thick girls. Yeah. And but I think I was drunk, and my equilibrium was off. And she jumped on my. I don't even know how she jumped so high, but she literally like jumped on my shoulders, and I fell and hit the back of my head and had a really bad concussion.
Oh, so thick girls got ups.
Yeah, the tick girl got me. Oh. So I'm.
So your only 2 concussions came crowd surfing and do a little dirty dancing with a
dirty dancing with a thicky thick. So those are the 2 concussions I've had. I don't want to knock on wood,
Yeah, man.
But yeah, those are probably the only 2 concussions I've had in my life.
Wow, I mean, how many professional fights would you say you have to this point, including if it wasn't okay? How about how many fights have you had? Because I know Muay Thai wasn't professional, so
Muay Thai was professional.
Muay Thai was you played? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so what's your record Muay Thai?
I was 42-5.
42-5
as an amateur.
Yeah.
And then I went 9-0 as a professional. 9-0 with 7 KOs.
7 KOs.
It was 7 KOs and WMC World Professional Champ.
Man.
So yeah, I was pro. I turned pro. I think 2012 in Muay Thai.
So the UFC was still a blossoming business in 2012.
Yeah, like I personally used to make fun of MMA because I thought their technique looked off. You know what I mean? They didn't look too crispy on the feet. And then what made me change was I remember I won my world title belt, WMC, and I only won about $5,000. And I remember I was like, I'm here. Like this is the top. This is the top. I can't survive off $5,000. And I remember that same night or same week, I saw this fight, Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner. Yeah, and they were fighting, and they were walking away with at least
$1 million each.
Was it $1 million?
I believe.
Yeah.
They say that was the pinnacle moment in UFC history that brought UFC I felt at the time was mainstream, but then it brought it mainstream and it changed the entire trajectory of MMA. And yeah, you're right. That changed for a lot of people. And
I remember just looking, I was like, I don't think these guys are any better than me. So, and then not only did I want to make more money, but I think I saw in MMA that was like the ultimate fighting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you gotta be good everywhere. And just the challenge for me, I just thought that was very challenging to be like, this is it. Like if you are good if you can make it in the UFC and be a world champ, you are the best fighter
On earth.
There's no, oh, what about his ground game? What about his striking? It's just you are the best.
You got the strap.
You got the strap,
Yeah.
and that's what kind of also made me want to go there. I was like, I think I can do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just that was what was really appealing for it. It was literally the ultimate fighting.
Tell us about your first MMA fight. How'd you prepare for it? What do you remember about it?
My first MMA fight was very, very difficult because my first MMA fight, I was still fighting professional Muay Thai side by side. So I remember there'd be times where I'd only have 2-3 weeks in between fights because I was fighting pro Muay Thai, and then I'd have to go quickly, train for my MMA fight. And it was very difficult to find me a fight because I was 0-0 in MMA, but I was 42-5 AM, and I think at the time I was 6-0 as a pro. So it was kind of difficult. They're like, who do we match this guy up with? We can't match him up with, a new guy. So who do we match him up with? So I matched up with this guy named Barang Yousefi, and I think at the time he was 8-2 or 8-4
In MMA?
In MMA.
So
pro.
you're 0-0, and you fought a guy that's already had 10 pro fights.
Yeah, yeah. So he was either 8-4 or 8-2, and not too bad. You know what I mean? And I remember I fought him in Edmonton, WSOF Canada, and it felt big. Boss Rutan was the commentator.
I was there.
Yeah, you were probably there.
I took your photo. Is that the first time? Is that where you got your
No, that cut.
that cut?
No, that cut was when I fought that black kid, Tristan Johnson.
Okay, because I took that photo.
Yeah, that would have been my third or fourth MMA
Okay.
fight. But my first MMA fight was against this guy named Barang Yousefi. And I remember when I put the MMA gloves on, I was like, these are small. I was like, oh crap. And I remember the first round, he threw a cross, and something that I usually would have shoulder rolled in boxing, it snuck through. And it was kind of hard. Like, it's not that he hit hard, but the gloves they're small and they're just like dense rubber.
What? How many ounces are the gloves?
I think they're 4-ounce gloves.
4-ounce gloves.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I remember like something that I usually would have just shoulder rolled, it snuck through, and I'm like, oh, I can't really shoulder roll as much in MMA. And I remember that. And then I remember, it's first round. I throw a left hook, knocked him out in the first round.
Wow.
And that was literally it. And, everyone was like, oh, the hype is real. Because a lot of people didn't know. And a lot of people thought he was just going to take me to the ground, whatever, right? But anyways, first round, I throw a left hook. I knock him out. Boss Rutan's all up on me. Everyone's all up on me, and I felt real good. And I remember I got it got replayed on the Fight Channel, and that was like my first time being on the Fight Channel. And I was like, man, this is definitely the path I need to be going to. I'm on TV now. I got a little sponsor, and it seemed way more hype than the Muay Thai was getting. You know what I mean? And that was very encouraging for me. So that's when I was like, you know what, I really want to, just to start fighting MMA.
And what year was that?
I would have been either 2014.
So 2014.
Yeah.
So 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Your first time in the cage.
Yeah, in the cage.
And now we are here 7 years later, and on the 12th, you're about to become top 10. That's an incredible journey. Now, LK Visuals and I, we tried to do a documentary on you last year, if you remember, or the year before.
Yeah.
And we had done it for Story Hive, for Tellus, for a pitch.
Yeah, they didn't bite.
They didn't bite. I was surprised. That was some good work, man. That was some good work. But your mom, who I'd never met before, called me. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And she's like, what are you doing representing my boy? Like, you make sure you tell the right story and don't be telling no bullshit story about him and this and that. And I'm just like, whew, okay, I'll do. I felt your mother's passion and love for you. Like, she was like, represent my son accordingly.
Yeah, she's
came
short,
right
but
in.
she's ferocious for sure.
So your mom and you have been together day one. She was a single mom, or?
Single mom, you know what I mean? But I moved out. I got kicked out when I was 13, 12, around that time. Just being her being a single mom and me being I was an angry kid, to say the least. And it was just tough. So I was out on my own for a long time, and I didn't go back to my mom until I was about 17 when I went to juvie, and I got put on house surveillance for I think a year and a half, and then I was on probation for about 3 years. So yeah, I got put back at my mom's house, and then we kind of rekindled our relationship.
Your mom's been there for you.
Yeah, she's been there for me. Yeah,
What's it like now, or like being 27?
29.
29 now.
Yeah.
So you're a 29-year-old man, and what kind of connection do you have with your mom now? Like now, this stage of the game,
It's a different type of connection, just because like we're a little bit cooler with each other now, and my mom's only 14 years older than me. You know what I mean? She had me when she was 14, so she
had you young.
Yeah, she had me really young. So we're not too far off.
Your mom's my age.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's we're cool now. She's cool, and since she's so young, she's hip. You know what I mean? She
gets it.
She gets it. Yeah.
That's cool. Now, you touched base earlier about being in Calgary, making yourself a star outside of Calgary, getting the attention and the admiration that you're getting culturally from the community. But you had said that you're just not feeling that extra kick where maybe like the media and local residents should be showing. Do you feel that has anything to do with being like a Nigerian, Jamaican fighter? Like if you were, say, a Caucasian fighter, do you feel that things would be different being in Alberta?
Yeah, definitely, man. You can just see some of the videos on Instagram. Like they definitely say it's the Texas of Canada. I'm not your typical, George St. Pierre, Rory McDonald, Mark Hominick looking type of MMA fighter, but I got Nigerian and Jamaican blood in me, but I am born and raised in Canada. And I just feel like, I've been slept on a little bit, just a little bit. The people that, like I said, the people that are cultured and the people that, been following me for a long time, they give me a lot of love. So it's not like I'm saying I got no love, but I just feel like they should have shown me a little bit more respect and put me on a bit more. And, because, I remember even before I was not much in the news, not much in the newspaper, and I'd see some little
skiers,
hockey
players,
or even some little
golfers.
White kid that just won a little amateur boxing fight. And I got nothing against that, but I'm like, how you not holler at me yet? You know what I mean? Some of these people, they didn't even holler at me yet. And, I'm at the point, I remember that. So some of those people that kind of left me and now they want to holler now, I'm like, nah, forget you. And I'm very happy where it's turning out. But
I'd say so. I see who talks about you now. I hear how Joe Rogan talks about you and Brendan Schaub. And I see how other fighters, champions, I've seen other champions. Also, the former welterweight champion, Israel Asada, has said some great things about you. And,
we're fighting on the same card.
Yeah, I see that. And speaking of which, I saw in your stories that you were on the preliminary card and not the main card. How does that make you feel?
I was a little bit cheesed because I feel like I should have been on the main card, but at the same time, we got Israel Adesanya's versus Melvin. And then right after that, we got Leon Edwards versus Nate Diaz.
That was a quick fight, too. They picked that one up.
Yeah, and then we got another big fight. I just can't even think of the name. We got another huge fight.
There is another one. Yeah, the third one's pretty big, too.
Yeah, so
and even the fourth fight on that card is
so, you know what I mean? I'm not really hating because all those guys are ranked above me. It's just the card is just that stacked.
Yeah, but you're kicking off the preliminary card. So that's the first one.
Yeah, I went from the last fight, I was on the main. This one, I'm on the preliminary, but it's all good.
But they got you starting it up, though. You know what I'm saying? They're expecting fireworks because usually the prelim, like the best fight of the prelim, is the one they talk about throughout the main card. Like, man, did you see this prelim? And on the prelims tonight, so obviously, like, they have some expectations of you in this fight. Because that's the fight. They need that anchor. I feel.
Definitely. This is a breakthrough fight. When I win this fight, it's definitely going to be a breakthrough fight. And I'm not hating too much because everybody, there's a ranking system for a reason, and the people that are above me, they're ranked a little bit higher. So I got nothing really bad to say.
That's dope.
At the end of the day, I'm still getting paid the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Still getting the fight.
Still getting the fight. I just signed a new contract.
You signed a new contract. When?
After my last fight.
I know you signed a 5-fight deal, right? Four-fight deal.
Yeah. So this is my third contract now.
Oh.
And we're getting up there. Getting some more smoolah.
Do you feel like I gotta make that money, bro? Do you feel the reason the UFC matches you with these Russian wrestling background guys is just so they can prepare you for like the top 10, like to the championship. Like, let's give him the best wrestlers we have in the division. We know he can strike, but let's just really test his ground game.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe they want to test my ground game. Maybe they know I'm just the man to do it. You know what I mean? And maybe that's another thing. Maybe they've because I've been here before. It's no joke. I fought Murat twice. I just fought Zubara. Khabib was in his corner. It didn't faze me. That dude was running.
Tell us about that, man. That video went viral when you yelled at him. What did you yell at him?
I didn't mean to. So you're not supposed to use too much profanity in Abu Dhabi, and I get it. But I was in my mind. I'm like, we're on the main card. You know what I mean? Let's make a fight. And when he kept running, fighting's instinct. It's not like I'm like, me, right? I'm not like that.
Yeah.
I'm really quiet. I just do the work. But just in the moment, I was just like, stop fucking running. Like, let's fight me. Stop fucking running. Because I remember I pointed at him like, let's stand off here. And he looked at me and he smiled and he's like, yeah. And then he backed out.
Yeah.
And then I got to the point. I was like, what? Like, come on, stop fucking running. Like, let's finish with a bang. Let's throw down. And he didn't want to do that. And I was a bit frustrated with him just running and smiling, you know what I mean? It was just in the moment, you know what I mean? Like, my coaches yelling, put your hands up, all this shit. I couldn't hear nothing. I was just like, let's put on a show.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that lame fight. I want to put on a show, and I had a lot of cardio. I was amped up. None of his shots were hurting me. I was stuffing all his takedowns. I was like, let's fight now. Let's see who can, get the best shots in and who's going to go down. And he didn't want to do that.
You looked incredible that fight. That fight, I remember watching it where we were. I think we were watching that on Joyce at 4th. So we tend to watch our fights here in Calgary. And man, I remember just screaming, just so excited. Like, it was just phenomenal to see. And, I look back at that fight and I look at the way you took care of that fight. This upcoming fight, very similar style? Or what are we expecting from, what's the name of the guy you're fighting right now?
Mosvolv Evolve.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
That's why I got you to do it.
Yeah. It's a very similar fight, but I think a less dangerous fight.
Less dangerous.
I think so, because Zubara, supposedly he had some power.
I watch his highlights. Yeah.
Yeah, he's rocked a few people and knocked out a few people, and I actually think I gave him a little bit too much respect in his power, because now when I go back on the fight and recall feeling some of his shots, it was nothing. And but there was a little bit of a danger there. As in this guy, he doesn't have knockout power. You know what I mean? And not saying, but he has other strengths, but he doesn't have knockout power, and he's not a submission artist. But what he does have is very good cardio. You know what I mean? That's kind of his game. So I feel like it's a less dangerous fight for me. You know what I mean? I can catch and shoot and box this dude and not have to worry too much. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I'm taking him just as serious. Like I said, I recognize his other strengths, but I'm coming in this
Your
fight.
cardio is always phenomenal.
Yeah, my cardio is always phenomenal, and I'm coming in this fight, and I'm looking to hurt him. I'm going to be pressing for it, and I'm looking to hurt him.
Let's get that highlight.
Exactly.
I got you.
I'm not going to force it, but I definitely wanted to come, and I can't stress this enough. I really dedicate this fight to my homeboy Riley that passed away. I just got a tattoo of him. You know what I mean? Riley Walls, a.k.a. MC Knight, one of the dopest MCs, actually, from Calgary. Really dope MC. He was part of this little group called Green Children. Shout out to Mentality and Vectrum. You know what I mean? They're still carrying on the group. And, I really, his family's giving him his ashes. Like I said, we're family. You know what I mean? Like, when I showed up to the funeral and, I was like, I really appreciate you guys for inviting me. They said, what do you mean? You're family. You know what I mean? So I got drive. I got a lot of drive. You know what I mean? I feel like Riley's he's with me.
Not a lot of, can't say not a lot of people think about their friends as closely as that. You know what I'm saying? Like, get a tattoo with them, been there with them, taking them into the fight with you. That's respectful.
Yeah, man. I've known that kid since grade 3. You know what I mean? We were homies since grade 3. Like I said, I lived with him. We started rapping together, you know what I mean? And I found fighting, and, unfortunately he got, some addiction. And
do you feel like, potentially? Like, he passed away just recently. Do you feel like the pressures and confines of COVID, the restrictions, do you feel any of that kind of got to your boy?
100%.
100%.
He went 90 days sober. He went to this treatment out in BC. Went 90 days sober. Got a little ring they give you for going sober, and the lockdown happened again. The
third
yeah,
lockdown.
the third one.
Yeah,
and he was bored, and he probably got an itch, and he hung out with this piece of shit guy. I don't even want to say his name, but
don't say his name.
This guy in the city, and I think his tolerance was down because he just was 90 days
Sober.
clean,
Yeah.
and who knows what he was getting. And it was definitely the lockdown and that's one thing a lot of people aren't talking about. More people are dying from overdoses than the actual COVID. Like, it's crazy.
So you think these lockdowns have caused a lot of mental health issues with Canadians?
Oh, for sure. Definitely. You know what I mean? I'm lucky because, I'm a professional and nothing has really changed too much for me. I'm kind of
But COVID hasn't affected you?
not too much because my life is the same. I go to the gym almost every single day and I'm back home. You know what I mean? I don't really do too much anyways, but for other people that, have a real social life, like to go out, like to socialize.
Just interact with others.
Interact with others, a lot of people don't have a job that's also kind of their hobby, you know what I mean? So they're just stuck at home. Some dudes don't got girlfriends. They can't meet, girlfriends, you know what I mean? Because they're stuck on this lockdown. It's caused a lot of mental health issues, and it's crazy. Last month, someone jumped off the 9th floor off of my balcony in my apartment building, and
Your balcony or the building?
The building,
Yeah.
the building, yeah. But there was the balcony right below me on the 9th, because
crazy.
I'm on the 10th floor. This dude was on the 9th.
So somebody committed suicide.
He didn't die.
He didn't die.
He didn't
That
die.
wasn't even in the news. I didn't even see
It
that.
wasn't even in the news.
They didn't even put it in the news.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to the dude. There's a video of it. Some sick dude took a video of
Wow.
it, and it looked like he could only move his head, but he survived.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Now, talking about COVID, you're saying COVID, luckily, unlike others, has not affected you too greatly.
Yeah.
How about the vaccine? Now, obviously, moving forward, I don't know, what are the UFC's views on the vaccine? What are your views as a fighter? Is this something that you're going to have to do or not do?
So far, it's not something that I have to do. You know what I mean? But I'm a little bit skeptical. You know what I mean? And I'm not like a crazy conspiracist guy at all. You know what I mean? But the government has lied and done some weird stuff before. So I just want to see how this all plays out. I've been reading the media and seeing some of these reactions that the vaccines.
Side effects, brother.
You know what I mean? And I'm not an anti-vaccinator, but I'm also not just gonna jump the gun and
Because everybody else is.
because everyone else is.
But the government says if you follow these rules and comply,
You know what I mean?
we will give you, what we may give you, but we'll lift some restrictions as long as you get the vaccination. And then all of a sudden, we're going to have to shut down again.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the city opens up for Stampede, and then as soon as Stampede's done, we close back
You thinking
down.
that, huh?
I wouldn't be surprised. You know what I mean? I'm not,
Motivating others to get more vaccine.
or they just want to make some money off Stampede real quick, and then shut it right back down.
So the game's then you'd be like, that's all they want to do is a move.
Yeah,
It's a hood move.
make some money. They
Yeah.
lost out on some money because there was no Stampede last year. That was a lot of.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of
$100
money.
million we bring in on that.
You know what I mean? So, and people act like the government's never lied before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a weird thing. Yes, like, obviously, like, come on, the government's told mad lies.
Mad
like,
lies.
You know what I mean? So,
What's Dana say about it to the fighters? What kind of release has he given you guys about the vaccine?
my last fight, he didn't say nothing about it. But it was very, very safe. Like, I had to get a COVID test before I flew down. As soon as we landed, I had to get another COVID test. Then we had to quarantine for 2 days. After the quarantine, I had to get another COVID test. Then we flew down to Abu Dhabi. When we got to Abu Dhabi, I had to take another COVID test, quarantine for 2 days. And then before the weigh-ins, I had to take a COVID test.
Wow.
I got tested like 6 times my last fight.
How did you feel about the testing? Did one up the nose?
That's what I was stressed about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That one
Everyone's
looks crazy.
like, yo, Hakeem, what are you worried about his left hook? You worried about the takedowns? I'm I'm worried about that shit up the nostril, bro. That shit looks uncomfortable. And I was stressing, bro, like for like 2 months about that. Boy, I don't know why I was stressing so bad. And then they gave me 2 options. They said, you want the nose thing or just the throat?
Yeah.
I was like, yo, obviously the throat. And I thought it was crazy because a few people chose the nose thing. I was like, yo,
What's wrong with you?
The hell's wrong with you, man? And the throat. I was like, oh, I was like, ooh, okay, cool.
Nice.
Just a little throat swab, whatever.
Nice. And then, so this is going to be the same kind of protocol moving into this fight as well?
Yeah, same
throat
protocol.
Swab, 2 days, throat
yeah.
swab, 2 days.
Yeah, definitely. So they're very, very they're strict.
So they're
with
active
it.
with it. They're
Oh yeah, they're active with it, and that's why you see the UFC anytime someone gets COVID, the fight's off.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So
Cody Garbrandt got COVID.
Yeah.
And you saw his last performance, and he kind of said, I think it was DC that said potentially that the COVID might have affected his cardio for that fight, even though it was like 6 months ago.
Yeah, well, look at that new UFCer that just came in, Hasma, the Chechen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like his COVID symptoms almost lasted him a year.
Mm-hmm.
He just couldn't train afterwards. You know what I mean? And it's crazy. Before COVID came out, I swear to God, I thought I had COVID. I remember before COVID came out that summer, I had some sickness, and it was like forever. I was stuffed up, my lungs felt like they had mad pressure on it. And I remember I was at home one time sick, and I almost wanted to call 911 because I just couldn't breathe. Wow. I was like, man, what the hell is going on? Like, I feel like I can't breathe. And, I didn't end up calling 911. I was able to calm myself down. Yeah. You know what I mean? But the effects of my lungs for like 4 months after, I remember I was like, am I ever gonna get back to what I was? And then I remember I got back to what I was, and then COVID happened, and I was like, I wonder. Yeah. You know what I mean?
No, we too. Right before COVID hit, I was in Louisiana and Dallas for some business, and just prior to that, my son, who you've met, Dominic, had an illness that before COVID had come out as the coronavirus, my son had some sort of illness that every symptom that you've seen that happens with COVID. He had no smell, no taste. His chest was inflamed. He had weird sweats, high temperatures, and he couldn't even get up out of bed. And I used to be like, I thought he was acting it up, like, come on, son, come on. And I would like, come on, like, what's wrong? And man, it was 10 days that he was like on his deathbed. And then like that, all of a sudden he's back on his feet. He goes, wow, that was crazy.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, I'm in Louisiana, and all over the news is the coronavirus, COVID-19. And I'm like, whoa, he got it before the announcement, which is a lot of people are saying now that they had a weird illness 6 months out.
That's literally how I felt. Like, it was the worst sickness ever. And I remember even when I was back, I'd be sparring for like months after, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, like I can't breathe. Yeah. And that weird feeling would come, and it took forever for that to kick off. So I'm interested to see,
how things go.
Yeah.
What would you say if Dana on this fight was like, great job, because obviously you're gonna win, and he's like, hey man, we're gonna be doing some, we're gonna have to hopefully some expectations for fighters to get the vaccine moving forward.
Yeah.
How would you feel about that?
I'd be nervous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I haven't had kids yet. You know what I mean? I don't even got kids yet. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? Like,
So it makes you nervous, eh?
Well, a little bit. You know what I mean?
It's okay, yeah.
Because, a lot of people, like I said, a lot of people don't, like, look into some things. There's been a lot of time. Like, for example, I remember when I was training in New Jersey, and I was training at Nick Catone's gym. And it wasn't COVID. This is way before COVID, right? But, they were doing the standard procedure, and it was like they were just having, I think, their first kid. And, they were doing everything the doctors say, and they gave their kid a vaccine, and the vaccine killed their baby. Oh. And that was crazy. I mean, you know what I mean? And I just, I remember always hearing things like that, and everyone was like, nah, that's BS, a conspiracy, blah, 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 blah. But, like, when I saw it firsthand, you know what I mean?
How many movies do you got to see from the 80s and 90s? Every action movie is like,
man,
the government. Man, it's always the government. You can't trust the government. All of a sudden, like, hey, we got this vaccine. We don't know what this virus is. It came from eating bats in a wet market. They show bodies in the streets in Wuhan. And all of a sudden, no more bodies in the street,
Yeah.
no more bat conspiracy,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden it was like comply, restrictions, stay home,
Yeah.
masks, distancing, and then take your vaccine. And now all of a sudden it's like this weird jump through the hoop. If you get the vaccine, you get to come back to this.
Come back to life.
And now it's a divide. Those who vax, those who don't vax. And it's like, why? You have to do your part for society so we can get back to normal.
Yeah.
My thing is, brother, what is normal? What is normal? After this, after 16 months of being shut down, they want us to go back to normal. I don't remember what normal even is.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I don't know what normal is, and a lot of people are in debt now. A lot of people lost their businesses. I mean, a lot of people owe the government money now. A lot of people are dependent.
Hands out.
Yeah.
They took away our work ethic.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. Like, there's some people that literally have been sitting at home doing nothing for almost 2 years.
2 years.
You know what
And
I
they
mean?
say, we'll go back to normal. What is that?
You know?
I mean, masks. I got to ask you. Obviously, you like to take care of yourself. You look good. You always feel fresh. How many times you wear that mask?
I only wear the mask when I have to. And then, you know, my family, we're very open-minded. We're not conspiracies, but, you know, my one auntie was showing me this one study how they were finding all these weird chemicals like formaldehyde and traces of this and that in the masks. And
so it ain't the virus.
And I'm not saying it's true or not true, but like in my head, I'm like, they would.
Yeah.
They motherfucking would
Why
do
wouldn't
some
they?
shit like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They'd love to get us, you know, and you know.
They love to get us.
Yeah, they would.
They want to get us. That's how you feel?
I'm open-minded to it because they've done it in the past.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And you hear about, you know, population control and stuff like that. And I'm just saying I'm open-minded. All I'm saying is I do not trust the government 100%. That's it.
And the people, and you know what? I don't blame you. I don't obviously trust the government 100% either.
And me being, you know, African-American as well, like, you know what I mean? They've done us dirty for years. So you can look into all those studies of, you know, putting, you know, testing syphilis and all this stuff on Mexicans and black people and all that stuff, you know. So.
And you were saying that you want to have kids.
Exactly.
When do you want? You have no kids now?
No kids. No kids yet, but you know.
But you want to have kids?
Yeah, you know, I always like to think of me having 2 strong boys.
Yeah.
And you know, passing on the martial arts. And I'm in a position now where, you know, I can have kids now. I'm comfortable, and you know, I'm not struggling.
You got a girlfriend? You go play in the field still?
No, I'm not playing the field. You know, I got a girl.
You got a girl. You ready to buckle down, or?
Yeah.
It's hard, eh?
It's hard in the sense that, you know, you want to make the right choice. You want to make sure you're picking the right girl. You know what I mean? It's hard. You know what I mean? You want someone you're obviously attracted to, but you want someone that is motivated. She's going places. So yeah, you know, and someone you can trust.
What's the most important to you about a partner? You know, because I mean, at your stage right now, 29 years old, about to become 10th ranked fighter in the world. Yeah. You got a lot of success coming your way. What is it about the woman, like the right woman? What does she have to have? What quality? What would you say is one quality she gotta have?
You know, if we're gonna go down one quality, let's just say, let me say 2 things. You know,
sure.
Honesty, work ethic. You know what I mean? And just willing to build and grow with me. You know what I mean? And I also respect someone that's been through the struggle with me. You know, not seeing it when it's all peachy. You know, see me when I was, you know, broke. See me when I was, you know, struggling. See me when I was driving a crappy little Ford Focus, and still be with me today. You know?
That's the humble nature of you. That's important to you.
Yeah, because I really don't come from much. Like, everything I have, I've literally got my fists. Like, no joke.
You emphasize that a lot when what interviews we have done together for documentaries or filming. Appreciate that, by the way, too, all the times you've been in our productions with LK Visuals and I. But yeah, like you have made a point of that over your career to be like, yo, I didn't come from much.
I didn't have no handouts at all. You know what I mean?
Everything you got is.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I didn't have no handouts. A lot of people weren't even willing to sponsor a brother with, you know, the type of background and story that I got in the first place. You know what I mean? I didn't get my first sponsor, till I think I got into MMA. You know what I mean? And I remember some of these other fighters be getting sponsors and yada yada. And I remember I was the one that wasn't. And I'm not saying nothing, whatever, but I happen to be the only black guy but whatever, that's not even a thing. And I remember, my first sponsor, I got sponsored by DHL.
DHL, yeah.
And
For your service.
and Saskatchewan Mining Incorporation. And it was, DHL was paying me $2,000 a month, and Saskatchewan Mining Corporation was paying me $2,000 a month. And I was,
That's pretty good.
it was high at the time. I was like, damn, okay, MMA, and that was another thing.
I think
I'm
okay,
like,
Visual's now gonna think about getting to a fight game. I think
Yeah,
he's like
and,
that's more than I make doing this podcast.
I remember like being like, yeah, man, MMA's got all this opportunity. I would never get this type of sponsor back in Muay Thai. You know what I mean? Right now, I'm with.
How's that sponsorship now? How's it coming along now?
Yeah, I'm with Muscle Tech right now.
I saw that, yeah.
I'm still with Muscle Tech. They pay
They're a
me
big
as a
company.
sponsor. Yeah, and then I was with betonline.ag.
Yeah, I've seen you put
Yeah, and I was,
I repost those. I always repost your pics.
Yeah. Every post, I was making a little Skrilla.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely better sponsorship opportunities. I think and I think things like this is good because like a lot of people, they just kind of see me as Mean Hakeem. You know what I mean? But like I'm actually not. I'm not a dumb guy. I'm not like always just mean mugging, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's just kind of like that's me in the cage. Like I feel like there's Hakeem and Mean Hakeem are two separate people, you know what I mean? And I remember sometimes, well, not even sometimes, I'll be meeting people, downtown. Like even this morning, I was shadowboxing, cut some weight, met somebody, and he talked to me like, "Damn, man, bro, like you don't even know how scared I was to talk to you."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Nah, man, I'm cool, bro. I'm just chilling. Like that's just like fight pics and." When I'm in the cage, I'm something you don't want to be looking at. And yeah, in the street, like I won't take disrespect.
No, I've seen it.
Yeah, I won't take disrespect. Don't disrespect me. Don't do that. But I'm a cool guy. You know what I mean? I'm very chilling. I like to talk about everything, man. I'm very open minded, and I try to educate myself as much as possible.
This is why I try to have you on the show.
Yeah.
This is what I wanted to do. When I had you on the show, I was like, we need to show your versatility.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people get to see the mean mugging, like the angry,
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
and they
We're
think
fucking
that's-
running. Like,
they think that's
who you are.
Yeah, it's like, you think I'm just around here like just mean mugging, and I think things like this kind of humanize me a bit more because sometimes I'll be like chilling with somebody that that doesn't know me or whatever, and they'll be looking at me and they'll be like, "So like, what do you do?" I'm like, same shit everybody else does, watch Netflix, chill out, listen to music, go out when we used to be able to go out. And, I'm a human, just human stuff. Like, what do you mean, what do I do? What do you do? Like, what's up? And everyone's always just like, man, I didn't think you were going to be like this. And I'm just like, yo,
I'm about this.
I'm just, it's an athlete, you know what I mean? I'm just an athlete, but, at the same time, I'm human.
You know what's crazy? I know that you're not shy with the cannabis, like when you're obviously way between fights. And I know you switched over to CBD now that you're like in the UFC, and like when you have UFC fights, you're using CBD.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying on the phone before you came through, you're like, yo, I just took this great CBD. And tell me about it. Like your use of CBD, like, does it help with the inflammation?
Yeah, I'm used to like, I'm half Jamaican, right? And half Nigerian. So weed in my family was, even before weed was legal, I used to watch my family smoke weed and, be like, Hakeem, don't tell your teachers because they think this and this and that.
Yeah.
But then and then the teachers be like, oh, weed is bad. You smoke weed, you're going to end up smoking crack.
Yeah.
And, or, the gateway drug. But, I look, growing up with my family, they're smoking weed and steady job, house, nothing crazy. The only thing that happened, eyes would go red, eat some food,
Pass out.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? And then I go to, you know, some of these other families where they ain't smoking weed, but the dad's like an alcoholic and some crazy ass shit be going down.
Man.
So I always grew up like, why is everyone saying weed's bad, but then like
alcohol's
so no, I was very familiar with weed, and I used to smoke weed back in the day a lot because I had ADHD. And I'm, you know, I never believed in taking
meds and whatnot.
The meds and whatnot, and also just with I used to have really bad anxiety, and
so the cannabis didn't trigger the anxiety, because you know me, I smoke sativa. I'm the
I
get crazy.
You know, the cannabis kept me, because I used to have extreme anger issues. You know what I mean? And you know that was one of the things that would keep me calm. And especially as a kid, I had such bad ADD that if I wasn't smoking, I couldn't remember anything because I was just doing everything at once. Like I just could not focus at all. I was just way too hyper.
So now you've obviously, because of your career, you've switched over to CBD use. Because CBD obviously is something that you can buy, you can purchase it. The UFC, do they recognize CBD? Is that something you can or cannot use? Or?
So in the UFC, marijuana is legal. So the only rule is, and this is why I like when some people get busted in the UFC smoking weed. I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, so I'm gonna tell you, the rule is in the UFC, like literally, you just cannot smoke 48 hours before weigh-ins.
That's it.
That's it.
What?
That's all you
so
gotta do.
Diaz all day.
Yeah, like it's like, bro, you can't chill for 2 days. Like I get it. You know what I mean? When I stopped smoking weed. You know, for a week you kind of crave it. You get the weed sweats, whatever. But
there's weed sweats?
Yeah, bro. Weed sweats, definitely. Like if you're one of those dudes that I used to smoke like a real Rastafarian, like, you know, all day. It was crazy though. I was smoking weed all day, training all day. My cardio was, if anybody that spars me, they're always like, Hakeem, don't stop. Like what's you know what I mean? So I used to smoke a lot of weed, and it didn't affect my cardio that much at all back in the day.
So now that you're not smoking cannabis, you're not smoking weed no more. I know that you're not consuming alcohol prior to a UFC fight. So you've been living a bit of a life of sobriety, like in between fights, like your training camps. Obviously, these are
you know,
no turn up.
Yeah, no turn up. You know, and like I said, I grew up, I used to do a lot of drugs, you know what I mean? So it's you know, I'm happy to be sober. I think that's why I did so much drugs, because, you know, when you're unhappy with yourself, you know, you need something to kind of take you out of that mind state. Like you need to be high, or you need to be drunk, or you need to be on drugs because you're just not happy with yourself. And the drugs just kind of numb you and get you in another world. So I think now that I'm at a part of my life where I'm starting to, you know, be proud of myself and be happy with myself. Yeah, I'm just high off life. Like, you know, I'm cool being sober because my life's okay. You know what I mean?
I get it.
Yeah.
I've been saying in my other podcasts as well, a show, we call it a show. I've been sober. Yeah. And I mean, you know me. I've turned up many times. I mean, a lot of riding around running around Stampede in a Speedo and fur coat on a handful of Molly and mushrooms. Like I've lived that life. Yeah. But this last year, I've been sober.
Yeah, and you look healthy. You know
Thank
what
you,
I mean?
brother.
Yeah,
I've been training, man. I've been training MMA. I've been training nonstop, working to get my blue belt in jiu-jitsu, and we actually sparred, which was crazy. I'd be honest, like it was. I watched the video of us sparring, and you're literally just kind of like, all right, bro. Okay, and I watched me. I'm ducking and moving and breathing. I'm peeking through the gloves, and you're like, I haven't even thrown a punch yet, bro. In my mind, but in my mind, oh my God, I was terrified.
And that's what I thought. I think, like at first in your mind, you're like, yo, he was maybe being a bit of a dick. But I think once you saw the video, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, you took it.
Yeah, I was chilling.
But in my mind, and even when you tap me and I dropped, I look back, I'm like, yo, he didn't even hit me.
I hit you. You're like, because I remember I hit you, and then you like dropped, and I was like, whoa, what the fuck? And then you're like, yo, what can I do to make sure that never happens again? And I was like, and then you're like, yo, like don't hit me like that. You almost knocked me out. I was like, yo, bro, you're okay. I didn't knock you out. I think you're You just need to relax, you know what I mean? You're stiff. And I'm actually happy that you recorded that, because then when you watch it, you're like, oh shit, I was tripping.
Yo, I was tripping.
Because I am a nice guy.
You
know
are
what
a
I mean?
nice guy, man.
I would never just go in there.
I'm not gonna
know?
lie though, he flattened me. He flattened me with a basic jab, not even like a startup warm-up jab for like a guy just kind of getting back into MMA. He like pop, and I'm like, whoa, what happened? And then I was peeking through the gloves, and you can see in the video, he's like kind of like. He's like, you done? Like, and then the only time that actually I was real was the body shot. You actually gave me one in the body, like just kind of say like, okay, like bang, and you let me, and I was like, whew. And that obviously was like 10%, 20%, but even 10, 20%, I felt that. Like my whole body just shivered. I was like, whoa, that was real. That I felt.
I think also like when you're intimidated like that a little bit, and you don't see something, that's what makes it hurt extra.
So what would you suggest? Like, I'm not saying for myself. You're interested in MMA. You want to get into the fight game. You're training. You're doing well. You're doing your jits. You're doing your wrestling. And you get into the striking, and suddenly you're like the sparring aspect of things. It's like, whoa. What would you like? What tips would you give a new fighter in regards? I'm not saying new UFC fighter. Just a young man or female that are out there learning the MMA world. Like, what kind of suggestions would you give?
Well, I think first things first. It's not gonna be that easy. It's not gonna be comfortable at first. Like the only way to get past that is you're gonna have to spar people that make you uncomfortable, and you're gonna have to put in a lot of hours. You know what I mean? And second, once you got a lot of hours in and you're sparring, you'll become more comfortable and you'll be able to see things. And then once you get to that level, it's all the little things that really do matter. Like, I remember back in the day, before I'd spar, I'd just go up to people and be like, hey, do you want to try and hit me?
Yeah.
And just work on my defense. And I'd work two types of defense. First, I'd work on blocking everything. I was like, hey, if I can block everything, let's try and make some things miss now. I remember when I first started learning how to slip punches, and I would get hit. You know what I mean? Like you'd slip into a punch, and stuff like that happens, you know what I mean? Like, because you're learning, but eventually, you start slipping, and you just start understanding human movement, you know what I mean? So, like, not everyone's going to throw the same thing, but you can kind of feel if someone's throwing a jab, that cross is going to come, and most likely either the uppercut or the hook's going to come, and you weave, and you just start getting these natural movements, and just from understanding, just working with so many different people, and you get to learn how to read people. And I'd really break down my training like that. I'd be like, hey, this round I'm gonna work on blocking. This round I'm gonna work on slipping. This round I'm gonna hold my body in a certain position to make him throw what I want him to throw, so I can go the other way. And like, instead of playing checkers, I was playing chess. Like I'd really think like that. You know what I mean? Just like, going from blocking to slipping to making you throw something that I want you to throw,
So when you're done winning this fight and you become top 10 and then we spar again, could we do that one where I get to only try and hit you and you don't get to hit me?
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I want. That's the game I want. If we could do one where I could just come at you with everything I got and you're just like, you could bob and weave and do all your stuff.
Honestly, that's one of my favorite things. That's something I do even when I don't got a fight coming up. I remember back in the day, I used to have a fight, and I'd come to the gym that next Sunday, high, off weed, you know what I mean? Because, you just want a big fight. You've been sober.
Yeah, you earned it.
There's this guy in the city, he makes like these golden blunts. I don't even know. And, I'd go to the gym, and one of my favorite things to do is just, let someone try to hit me, listen to some beats, talk some smack, know? And it's a gym talking smack, you just be talking like, say someone throws a cross and they miss, and you'd be like, who the hell are you throwing at? Just little things like that. And that's one of my favorite things to do, is just working on defense. And when you got good defense, you'll have good offense, because you're not worried about throwing, because you know what I mean? Like a lot of times in the UFC, they don't even talk about my defense. I remember, a lot of times I'll throw a punch and say the guy tries to counter me, and people don't notice I have this hand here.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, and everyone's like, oh, how'd you take that shot? And I was like, look at the video, I didn't really take that shot. That's like old boxing tricks, the windshield wiper, and a lot of people don't realize that.
I got to learn the windshield wiper.
Yeah, it's you know when you know this. That's your last resort. You throw a jab, you mess up, like, see, you can't get your hand back in time, boom.
Yeah.
Right? And that's just muscle memory. Like, if I throw, you know what I mean, and I mess up, and you throw the right hand, I got this hand here.
Yeah.
And then usually what comes after the right hand instinctively is the left, and then this hand's back. And, you know, you see that a lot. Look at Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's, you know, that's just, you know.
Would you say he has a big fight coming up? Does Floyd have a big fight?
I don't think so.
Logan Paul?
You know, if like I don't think so at all. If there's ever a 1.00% chance Logan was gonna win, it would be in the first round. And because once after the first round comes, Floyd's gonna see what kind of punches he throws.
So it's real though. They're fighting.
They're fighting, and I saw his training, and he's big, but he's got so many fundamental flaws. You know, every now and again, I poke shots at fake Paul. You know what I mean? I'll send him a little message say I'd slap that dude.
Yeah.
But whatever. You know, good for them. They're making some money.
Would you ever do an exhibition bout at your stage of the game?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah?
I would love to slap
You
Jake
heard it
Paul.
right here. Mean Hakeem will do an exhibition bout.
No, real boxing match.
Real boxing.
Real boxing match with fake Paul.
With
And,
fake Paul.
And you know, I give him a weight advantage like Floyd's doing, and I'd slap him.
Yeah.
You know, that'd be fun. That definitely would be fun. Ben, goddamn, oh man, Ben, come on, Ben, that was.
Do you feel as an MMA fighter he kind of let down the MMA industry a little bit?
Well, no, well I don't know, because it's like everybody knew Ben was whack with the hands, but at the same time he got this weird. Very controversial win over Robbie Lawler in the UFC, and he was champion in a lot of other MMA leagues, and he got one punch in the first round. I don't know, it was just crazy.
Yeah. So do you feel that he took, like, is there a possibility that with Jake Paul, like did you think he just kind of like left his chin out there for that punch?
You think he took a dive?
Well, I can say that.
Yeah, I heard, you know.
I can say that. I mean, they both got paid regardless.
I heard that, you know what I mean? I heard that, but hey, I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
Mean Hakeem didn't say it, I said it. So
yeah, but I really did heard he take a dive, but I do not know.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Ben, I thought.
But what about the end of that fight when you saw Snoop Dogg celebrating Jake Paul? Hug, that's what's up, that's how you do it. And Oscar De La Hoya and these guys showing love to Jake Paul. And it's like, what did you do? You knocked out a man half your size that is not known for striking with no boxing background.
Yeah.
And you came in there and you hit him, and then Snoop, of all people, do you think Snoop 20 years ago would have acted the same way towards Jake Paul?
I think at the end of the day, Jake Paul made them a lot of money.
And that's it.
So when you make people money like that, yeah, they're gonna be hugging you. They're gonna be grinding up on you. You know what I mean? Yeah, he made them some money.
Yeah.
He made Snoop some money.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Money, you can make anyone money. They're gonna be, you know, money is crazy. Money can do almost anything. So.
Money changes people.
Money changes people.
Nice.
Money changes the way people view you. You know what I mean?
Has money changed you?
Yeah, definitely. You know, unfortunately, when you got more money, you're happier.
So,
You know what I mean?
so money does money buy happiness? Because I mean, you came from nothing, and then you had a little bit to stabilize your life,
Yeah.
and then suddenly, like, you're getting some flow from the UFC, and you know, you've changed your lifestyle a bit. Has it really brought you some more happiness?
I think anytime you can just be comfortable, yeah, you can
Yeah.
be happy. Like when you have to stress about rent and food and insurance, that's stress.
Yeah, man.
That's affecting your happiness.
So stability.
Yeah,
You've got stability in your
I got
life.
stability, and then I think the rest is up to you. To now that you have some stability, now you can pursue what you want, what interests you, what you like, but you're stable. You know, you're not living like up and down. So yeah, I'm not saying money buys you happiness, but right now in the society that we're in, it buys you, you know, some stability, and then, you know, once when you're stable, now you can start pursuing what makes you happy. You know?
I dig that.
Yeah.
I dig that because as a single father, these past 14 years, been raising my boy, And stability don't come easy when it's just a single dad in the entertainment industry trying to, gig to gig, trying to make money.
Yeah.
There's so many times I've been, I buy groceries. My son's growing. He's going through puberty. Like when the groceries are done,
exactly.
He's big. He's just like, look at we're eating.
I remember, and he works out. He was like me, working out a lot.
Yeah,
like,
he's fit.
And it's no different with single dads and a single mother.
Yeah,
like
man.
I remember, like my mom being black, 14. Like we were really poor.
Yeah.
So I've always had a soft spot for single moms and single fathers. Same thing. It's no different. You know what I mean? It's tough.
What's up?
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Respect. You're doing your thing. A lot of people,
He wants to spar you too. Because
Yeah,
you know
definitely.
he's got them hands. He's
No,
working.
no.
Yeah.
I already said after this fight, I'd like to hold some pads for him and just get him to focus on some fundamental things. Because especially at the age he's at, it'd be perfect to have that set in stone now, so you don't have to fix bad habits later. Because he's definitely he's got a lot of potential.
Dominic LaBelle. There you go. Mean Hakeem of the UFC just said you got potential. So he's been gaming a lot. And he's been gaming nonstop.
I gamed when I was when I was young. How old is he now?
14.
See, I think I gamed until I was about probably 14.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then around after that, when you're out on your own at 14, you can't even afford freaking games right now. So I don't game no more. I haven't gamed since I was like 14.
So I need to boot him out the house.
Yeah, get him out the house, I think too much gaming is definitely bad for a kid.
There you have it.
I think so. Too much gaming, yeah. I think
Too much of anything.
Too much of anything, yeah. You know what I mean? Only, I don't think you can have too much training.
Too much
But,
training?
Yeah.
Yeah. Too much money and too much training.
Yeah, but too much gaming I don't think is, the best for any kid. I think you should definitely get your kid used to being out and active. You know what I mean? Doing things outside, hanging out with his friends when he can, once the world's back normal.
You seen some people get weird over the games?
Yeah, like I had this one cousin. He was really, really smart, you know what I mean? And he got, when that World of Warcraft game first came out, and he was the same. He played defense soccer, so I was center midfield. He was defense, and I remember he started missing school, not sleeping, missing soccer, literally just playing this game, this reality.
Oh, I know World of Warcraft.
Yeah. And I remember I used to watch him play it, and I remember one time I was laughing. He's in this game, and he's on a boat, and the boat ride was like an hour in the game, just on a boat waiting to get some other part of the game. I'm like, this is crazy.
But you watched for the hour.
Oh, I watched. It was I could see how kids, that's a very, especially, it's just. It takes you to a neat place. It's like when you watch like a movie with very good, scenery. You're just like,
cinematic.
Yeah, it's cinematic. It was definitely cool, but that game can take up so much time. You know what I mean? You could play that game for 4 hours, and like, boom, there's 4 hours of your day going.
But let's be honest. After he's done gaming, next step is women. Women gonna be taking his time.
Yeah. So no, I remember his mom threw his shit out.
Oh.
Yeah, he was mad. Like, you remember that first YouTube video of when
The dad where he smashed his
the
kid?
wow?
Yeah.
It was like that. I don't. Yeah, it was some shit like that. He like said, "I don't want to see you ever again." Like, it was some shit. And it's funny because when we talk about it now, he's like, "Man, what the fuck was up with me?" Like, he's like we always kind of joke about it and laugh. You know what I mean? I was like, "Yo, remember when you was gone into that fucking game?" And we laugh about it now. It's just, it's funny.
I would love to take Dominic's PlayStation 4 and smash it. But like you said, you saw his potential in MMA. I don't know if I'm ready to have that conflict because the boy has hands, right? I don't want to catch my 14-year-old son's hands right now. But
and that's the age when you start, because I remember that's the age when I've gotten like first fight with some of my mom's boyfriends and shit like that. You know what I mean? 14, because up until the age of 14, you take it.
Yeah.
You're scared, you take it, and then once you're 14, you're like, you know what? Fucking, you're in your room stomping around. I'm not fucking taking one more. He's like,
that's it.
Around 14 is when the that's it comes around usually. So yeah.
So now that he's got a mustache, I gotta work on my
The,
control.
the testosterone starts coming, and eventually, from 14, I'd say to at least 17, you're like, you ain't taking it no more.
Well, I'm gonna bring him to you then.
Yeah.
My G.
All right, man.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
This was a great interview with Mean Hakeem of the UFC, Calgary resident. The man has been repping this city for years. I want you guys to make sure that you go and follow him on Instagram. Do what you can to support this local athlete, this celebrity. This man's about to fight on June 12th in the UFC to become the 10th ranked fighter in the world in the featherweight division. There's nobody else that you should be watching except for my man right here.
Thank you. And also, I just want to say a big shout out to my sponsor, Muscle Tech, for fueling me for this fight camp. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, man. If you can give me some extra protein, that'd be dope.
Definitely. I do got some extra protein.
All right, my G.